Hey guys, welcome back to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Ashe Supplementary guide, and today we're going to be talking about on-hit Ashe. But as usual, before we talk about that, I'm going to refer you guys to Ashe's basic guide, which I will link up in the cards above, to take a look at her skills, leveling order, tips and tricks, as well as some combos. So without further ado, let's jump straight into her items. So as the build suggests, it's of course on hit, so you're generally focusing on hit items. Like, of course, we have like items like Sheen, technically Mana Mune's on hit, Blade of the Rune King's on hit, Wit's End, etc. So let's get into the build. So first up, we're gonna go for a Mana Mune, and there's two reasons we're going for the Mana Mune. Firstly, of course, the mana itself, and secondly, of course, we have the damage from the passive when you evolve it to your mirror mana as well. So of course, Ashe uses a lot of mana. She spams her W quite a bit, and of course, Mana Mune is going to help with the mana issues, but it's also going to give you damage on your auto attacks and damage on your W. Of course, being on hit kind of build, damage on your auto attacks is really good, and W damage is also very good because you use your W a lot. So of course, ability haste and AD is useful as well, especially the ability haste. Now next up, you generally go for your Sheen, which is going to be this item component. You technically go for the Sheen early, and then you go into Boots. So Boots, I normally actually go for Berserker's Greaves, and the reason why I go for this is because I use Kraken Slayer to get damage, and it takes really long to complete Triforce for 30% attack speed, and it takes even longer to then get to Bork to get 35% attack speed. So although I eventually will have a lot of attack speed, I technically don't need attack speed boots. I don't have any attack speed early because I've gone for Mana Mune. So I like to actually go for attack speed boots second in order to get that early game attack speed. Now in some games, you do want to of course go for defensive options like Merc Treads or Plated Steel Caps. You can also go for Gluttonous Greaves if you want to. As a matter of fact, you can even go for Ionian Boots of Lucidity because Ashe benefits a lot from cooldown reduction because she can spam her W. But for this particular build, I think the best thing to go for is Berserker's Greaves to attack faster, especially in the early game. Then your next core item is going to be Triforce. Gives you a little bit of health, gives you of course the ability haste, attack speed, and the AD, which is really what we're looking for. And of course, the most important part for the on-hit build, the Sheen passive. So of course, the Sheen passive is gonna, or rather Spellblade passive in this case, is gonna give you the 200% extra base AD on your attack, or rather, it's gonna deal bonus damage equal to 200% of your base AD on your next auto attack in between your abilities. So of course, you can proc this with your Q, with your W as well, and basically just increases your damage by quite a bit. The movement speed you get from Rage passive is also really useful, especially when you combine it with your slows. And then for your last three items, it's kind of situational. So generally, your second last item is always going to be Maul Reminder for of course the Armor Pen and the Grievous Wounds. You could also go for technically a LDR, but I don't really think that's needed because this is not really a crit build. So for your third item, generally most of the time is going to be Blade of the Rune King, because this is going to give you attack speed, attack damage, physical vamp, as well as of course the on-hit current health damage, and also the Drain passive, which is really useful for not only dealing damage but also stealing enemies' movement speed. So GA is also an option, but of course other options you have is actually like something like a Wit's End. You could go for Wit's End as the last item if they're heavy AP. You could go for it after Triforce as well. This of course gives you the attack speed, the magic resist, as well as the on-hit magic damage, as well as the on-hit healing. And another item that also gives you on-hit is actually Slurry Charge Blade, because this gives you attack speed, ability haste, crit, but it also gives you that magic damage on hit whenever you cast spells. So this is also a really good item. Some other items that you can consider, but I don't like too much personally, is like Essence Reaver, because it does of course increase the damage for W, but I don't really like that. And Black Cleaver is also really helpful because it can shred enemies' armor, but I don't really like that because we already have the Triforce and the passives overlap, so you're losing a lot of gold value, and also you already have Maul Reminder, so you don't really need that armor shred so badly. So generally I don't really go for it, but I generally go for these items and Slurry Charge Blade, GA, all these kind of things. So for the runes, I like to take Kraken Slayer. So Kraken Slayer to me is really critical on Ashe because I think most of Ashe's damage comes from Kraken Slayer. Like, you don't really get a lot of damage. You don't get any damage actually from Lethal Tempo because you just attack really quickly. Conquer is a pretty good option in all honesty, but personally I just like Kraken Slayer. I've always taken Kraken Slayer on Ashe regardless of which build I go for, because I feel that that's the only way she does like meaningful damage, especially in the earlier parts of the game. Then Brutal, of course, for the on-hit damage on your auto attacks against champions. And then, of course, you go for your Coup de Grace against, which is really helpful against low HP targets. And, of course, Giant Slayer if you're against tanky targets. And then, of course, we go for Bloodline for the Omnivamp. We don't need any more attack speed because we already have a lot in our build. And we have Bone Plating, of course, for laning, as well as to block combo damage in the later parts of the game. So on Ashe, Flash and Ghost is going to be very helpful because Ghost allows you to kite around fights, and especially combined with your slows and like other aspects like, you know, slows from Blade of the Ruined King, etc. It's going to help you kite around fights very well. But of course you can also go for Exhaust if there is a heavy assassin or dive comp on the enemy team. But with all that said, let's jump into talking about our gameplay. Okay, so let's take a look at the gameplay. Now, first things first, you're going to see this is a really weird match. Well, basically, the Lee Sin support wanted to play ADC, and I basically said no. So, he ended up picking Lee Sin support with Smite. So, now whether this is trolling or not, it's kind of up to you to decide, I guess, because technically speaking, the pick is kind of troll, but he doesn't actually end the game or anything. Like, he's actually trying to win. So whether it's an unconventional pick or a troll pick, it's kind of up to you to decide, and different people see things in different ways. Personally, I think that in this game it was fine, but in some games you will get punished for these kind of picks, or rather I will get punished for these kind of picks because I'm going to be left alone. So you can see here that the Lee Sin is going into the enemy blue side jungle to steal the blue buff as well as the Grump, which technically means that he's denying the enemy orange jungle 2 camps, which is technically really good, but on the flip side, he's leaving me alone 2v1. Now, I say 2v1, but in reality, the reason why his invade works is because the Jhin took some time to connect to the game or was AFK or something like that, and only the Brand was in the lane. We can see this because Brand support item, the orbs are not lighting up. So we know Jhin is not like hiding in the bush or anything. He's actually just not even in the lane. So that's why I'm kind of hard shoving the wave into the tower to make Lee Sin lose, make Jhin lose more minions. And here, because of that, I have priority and I'm able to actually rotate over here to help this, help my team basically collapse on the Ornn. I do get the kill here. I popped the Ghost just now, and here I get the slow onto the Brand. Here I'm just chasing him down. Lee Sin flashes in. Brand tries to flash away, and I actually end up picking up a double kill. So off of the rotation there because we got Pryo and Jhin still wasn't around. So I guess, you know, it balances out. We get a quote-unquote troll support Lee Sin with Smite, but the enemy ADC ends up taking like 2 minutes to show up in the game. So guess it kind of balances out. But yeah, so before we talk too much about this Lee Sin support and the enemy ADC not being around, let's talk about Ashe on hit itself. So when do you want to pick Ashe on hit over like crit Ashe, for example, assuming you're playing like a carry version of Ashe? Well, the honest answer to that is it's really kind of up to you, because technically speaking, both builds on Ashe are just as viable and both are good in different ways. But personally for me, I like to pick on hit Ashe when the enemy team is more tanky. So if the enemy team is more squishy, I like to go for like the full crit kind of Ashe. Whereas if the enemy team is more tanky, I like to personally go for the on-hit build of Ashe, because the on-hit build of Ashe obviously has like Blade of the Ruined King and items like that. So it's going to help me like shred through tanks a little more easy. So in this case, it's champions like Ornn, champions like Galio, for example. So here, the Lee Sin has come back to the lane at long last, and at the same time, Jhin has finally showed up to the lane. He's only level 2 here, so honestly, I think a mistake I made here was I should have just ulted Jhin in the face, because we're level 5, I'm level 5, Lee Sin's level 4, and Jhin was like level 2. Because of like catch-up XP, Jhin is actually leveling up really quickly, so now he's actually level 3 already. Lee Sin ends up in a fight with Brand, so here I'm just rotating. Jhin does the right thing by trying to secure some XP here, and here I'm getting some auto attacks off on Brand to slow him down so that he cannot actually chase my Lee Sin anymore. So, I mean, you know, I still want to help the Lee Sin, even though like it's a kind of a weird pick, but you know, he's still trying his best despite this kind of like weird pick. So I'm not gonna troll him either. I'm just gonna try to win the game. So here, we're just going to continue to see as Jhin has backed at level 4 for some reason. I think to get his boots, I guess. I tried to do a cross map arrow, but doesn't quite hit Vladimir, unfortunately. My personal advice is to try to use Ashe arrow cross map as much as possible, and you should try to look for opportunities to try to do things like that. So the reason why I went for the ult on Vladimir there is I know that my Malphite still has ult, so I believe if I hit my ult onto Vladimir and Malphite full combos him, he can probably one-shot him before the Vladimir goes into the pool. So that's why I was trying to go for that arrow. Basically, whenever you see an opportunity across the map where someone can get a kill if you arrow them, you should basically almost always go for it, unless you need to save your arrow for, let's say, a dragon fight or a herald fight or some kind of big team fight that's going to happen soon. So Lee Sin's back in the jungle stealing the Ornn's farm again. And Ornn is always late to the party. Ornn's having a really bad day here. Brand's trying to collapse, but Lee Sin is a very, very slippery character. And here he tries to go in on Jhin. I try to follow up, but unfortunately you can see Ornn ulti coming in here. So I get hit by Ornn ulti, and I basically realized that this is not gonna work out. So here I'm just backing up. I'm not overcommitting with the Lee Sin because I don't want to die for no reason, and I'm just gonna walk out of the Jhin ulti, and I'm going to just reset because I'm really, really low on health at the moment, and I had to actually pop my ghost to actually run out there. So here I'm just gonna reset and restore my health, and overall it still doesn't go too badly, I guess. Lee Sin's pretty pissed off. He was typing in the chat in a language I can't even understand, and more or less you get the main idea that he's basically probably flaming me, but who really cares. Here Lee Sin goes in again. For some reason. Apparently that's the only thing he knows how to do. He just goes in on repeat. So here, he's going to pick up the minions on the tower. Rather, Lee Sin's going to pick up our minions, but since he has a support item, we get the goal, so it doesn't really matter. Dragon's up, so of course we're going to go for this dragon fight. Ornn apparently just AFK stands there. And we're just going to land a free W on him. Here, he's trying to come in for the dragon steal. I unfortunately launched the arrow in between the uprights. And here, fortunately, Rengar can secure the dragon. Now, Ornn is pretty much dead at this point because I'm slowing him down. I'm flashing forward to go for the Brand and the Ornn. We get the kill onto the Brand, and unfortunately, we're a little bit too behind enemy line, so we do end up dying. But the Rengar and the Malphite is trying to finish the job. They get the ult onto the Jhin, and they're able to kill the Jhin. Rengar is 1 HP, but he is able to survive, and Malphite picks up the double onto the Vladimir. So, pretty good team fight overall. Honestly, the team comms here are really, really real. We have like a full AP Galio top. We have like an Ornn in the jungle, and yeah. And then on our team, we have, of course, the Lee Sin Smite support. We have a full AP Malphite mid, which is okay, but it's not very common. And we have a Teemo in the top lane building full crit. Like you can see, he has a Runaan's Hurricane in the moment. Like this match, I don't know what's going on. Like I'm so confused, like by all these team comps, all these like weird picks, and I have no idea what's going on. But I'm just gonna play my game, just play as per usual, and just play around, what the enemy team has and what my team has, and all that sorts of things. So, here we're back in the lane. Jhin has gone mid. So here it's just me and Brand. I know Jhin is coming back down, so all I'm really doing here is I'm just trying to shove the wave in before he comes, so that I won't have any trouble picking up the farm. And after we've done that, we're all good, and we're just gonna back off back to under tower. So here in the meanwhile, my team is causing havoc in the mid lane. They're trying to take the mid lane tower, and they do without even popping the herald. They're now only just popping the herald to go for tier 2 tower. And here I'm still keeping both the Jhin and the Brand busy. So here Jhin walks into tower range, and I try to actually ult him to let him tank tower, but unfortunately the ult release is a little bit too slow. So I'm not quite able to actually catch him under the tower. But either way, I think it basically manages to scare both of them off. And in the meanwhile, my team is still running rampant in the mid lane. Here I'm just trying to hold the lane as much as possible as I can. If I let them get a little bit of tower damage or anything like that, it's basically fine. But you can see that the enemy team is not forcing too hard, which actually is a pretty big mistake. Now they're actually rotating to my team. And here I realized that Brand is dead, so I'm actually just going to turn back because I know that, they don't need my help to kill the Brand, and I don't need to actually ult. Actually, I don't even have ult, but yeah, they don't really need my help to kill the Brand. So I'm just going to head back to my lane and just push the minion wave in. So here there's no tower plates anymore, so you don't really have to stay to go for tower plates. It's better to just reset and get items. And, just get more tempo onto the map. It's not really going to matter if you take off like 500 extra HP or 1000 extra HP from the tower, because you can't really get the full tower anyway, so to me it's not too much of a point here. So here, Lee Sin's gone to bot and actually went for my wave. So I realized that, you know, there's no point of me going there at the moment. I'm gonna go to mid instead since Malphite is still in the base. I'm gonna just pick up these minions instead. You know, because Lee Sin basically took all my farm here. So here I'm just gonna clear out the wave, and then I'm going to not reset but rotate back to bot lane. So here, actually they now have 3-man bot, and they're now trying to force down this tower. Now unfortunately I'm gonna reach the bot lane a little bit late, so I'm gonna have to give up the tower. And unfortunately enemy team does manage to pick up the tower here. But we're just going to basically pick up the minions, check if anything's going on. Nothing's going on here, so now we can basically just hit back either to mid or just wait for the next wave. So also take note here that I've actually went for the Merc Treads in this particular game because we of course have 3 huge AP sources on the enemy team. We have Bran, we have Vladimir, and we have Galio. Of course Ornn doesn't really, we can't say Ornn doesn't do too much damage, we all know that's a lie, but they have 3 huge AP sources, so of course Merc Treads is a really good item. Here I tried to actually ult mid to try to save the Lee Sin, but unfortunately Lee Sin dies anyways because there's 3 people chasing him down, and I could only really stun 1 of them unless they group all together, which of course they did not. So here this does give me an opportunity to actually pick up this bottom tower, so huge 200 gold into my pocket, pop the plant for the denial, and we're just gonna quickly back and reset to get the Triforce before the dragon. So here we're actually on a pretty big power spike. We're actually 3-1 and 2, not the best KDA in the world, but we actually have our Triforce completed, we have our Mana Mute evolved into Mirror Mana, and we also have Merc Treads against a heavy AP team. So we're actually in a really good spot here. Rengar is in the area. I'm trying to start the dragon, but Rengar is looking to assassinate someone. Apparently he's trying to assassinate the blue buff. But here, we're going for the team fight here. I managed to stun the Vladimir, chain CC into the Malphite ulti, and we managed to kill the Vladimir. And here, Galio, you know, tries to escape with the flash, but I flash to follow. I've slowed him down, and there really is no escaping Ashe because of those slows. And with these 3 picks onto the Vladimir, Jhin, and the Galio, we can easily pick up this dragon, and shouldn't be too much of an issue. We get the second dragon of the game, of course, building toward that 3 dragon win condition. So here I'm just gonna push in the mid lane. Mid lane tower is actually really low, so we can try to actually go for this mid lane tower. Vladimir here tries to defend this mid lane tower. Unfortunately, he does have backup, so we're gonna have to back off. He tries to flash in on us with the help of his ulti. I managed to stun the Bran, but I was actually aiming for the Vladimir, so I didn't really hit the target I intended. Unfortunately, because Bran hits the stun here, it allows Jhin to actually catch up and kill me, which is really unfortunate. If I dodged that stun, I would have been out scot-free, but Bran does take a very greedy recall in the middle of mid lane and does allow Rengar to get up an assassination on him. In the meantime, the Teemo and the Lee Sin has been pushing down bot lane and gotten a tier 2 tower. On the flip side though, Galio is doing the same thing and is trying to pick up our tower for an objective bounty, so it's a really messy, like kind of cross-mappy kind of game state at the moment, and Galio does actually indeed manage to pick up the tower, and he does get the bounty. So overall, pretty interesting sequence of events here, everyone just rotating all over the place, and just doing different things. Really standard game of Wild Rift. And here, Baron has just spawned. Galio uses his ult to escape my team. Vladimir goes in a little bit far in my opinion. Unfortunately, does hit the pool, so I don't manage to get off my slow. But unfortunately for Vladimir, I still have my ult, so I'm able to hit my ult. Malphite goes in with the ult, full combos onto the Bran, gets the kill onto the Bran. Here we can see the Ornn ulti coming in, so we're just gonna try to step back a little bit. Fight still going on at the side. Apparently somehow the Ornn kills the Malphite here, but you can see I'm barely doing any damage to the Ornn. Need my Bork for that, which I'm of course halfway there in terms of getting my Bork. Here Teemo tries to get the assassination onto the Jhin, and instead Jin's gonna retaliate with the ulti. Tries to shoot me and Teemo down, but doesn't really do any damage because we're all still full health. And here Lee Sin goes in on the Ornn. Here I'm trying my best to kill the Ornn. I still have the true damage from the Kraken Slayer, so I still do a decent amount of damage to him. And here we're gonna have to run for the hills because the Bran and the Vladimir are chasing us, and Galio is off at the side as well. Here we use the Hawk Shot to spot out the Bran, and the fight still continues here. So here I'm lining up my ulti onto the Bran, and Rengar is able to hop in and get out the damage. I'm able to finish off the kill, and we are able to get a successful pick onto Brand. So really, that's kind of one of the best strengths of Ashe, is that arrow coming from downtown and stunning you from out of nowhere, and you know, no escape, and especially if your team can just follow up, it's pretty much a free kill every single time. So here with the Galio did, and the Brand did as well, we're going to go ahead and try to pick up the Baron. So here we're just going to go ahead and focus the Baron. Unfortunately, it's just me, Malphite, and kind of Lee Sin here. Teemo's just kind of walking around the pit. Rengar decides to just ignore the Baron and decides to just go for kills instead. So we're going to have to drop the Baron because Rengar is not interested. Here I get the stun onto the Ornn. And here I'm just going to slow the Ornn, just attacking him down slowly but surely. I realize Vladimir is a more valuable target. He flashes away. I'm going to flash to chase. I'm going to focus on Vladimir now, and I do get the kill onto Vladimir. I'm left at 1 HP. I got ignited by the Brand, but I'm still alive here, trying to land my spells. I do get the slow onto Ornn, but I don't think we can finish the kill. Yeah, Ornn does escape on 1 HP. But I'm also 1 HP, so I'm going to just quickly back here. I finally complete my Blade of the Rune King. And of course, we also want to get that last Whisper, or perhaps a Boot Enchant. We do get the Boot Enchant instead. We do get the Stasis, because of course, you know, really useful for safety purposes. If someone tries to run in on us, we can of course just pop the Stasis. Here I try to go for a cross-map arrow. I do get the cross-map arrow onto the Galio for like a huge 3-second stun, which does allow Teemo to kind of try to escape. He's leading them to us, so here another fight ends up breaking out. I'm stepping away from Ornn's wall. I do get the kill on Ornn. With the Blade of the Rune King, you can see I do significantly more damage to the Ornn. Blade of the Rune King's huge purchase against a tanky team. And here the third dragon is up. Vladimir and Jhin are on the completely wrong side of the map, so this should be a really free triple dragon. Both carries are on the wrong side of the map. Jungle is dead, and honestly, they can't contest. So we do get the triple dragon, no problem. And yeah, we're in a pretty dominant position in this game. At this point in time, we have triple dragon, a 10k gold lead, and we have 11, 0, and 12 Rengar, and we personally are 9, 2, and 6. So we are of course doing pretty well. So here, honestly, the best thing to do here would be Baron, which is why I'm kind of hanging around the Baron area, but my team seems really unwilling to do Baron, especially the Rengar for some reason, which is kind of troll in my opinion, because why not just get the Baron and, you know, just get the victory off of the Baron. So here Galio overextends by a lot, has no one to ult to, so I'm just going to run down here, I was going to try to say to get the assist, but I end up actually KSing my team, which I guess is fine. So now here we're just hanging for the Baron again. Unfortunately, Lee Sin's not interested. He's trying to back. Teemo's trying to go for kills. Rengar's trying to go for kills as well. So I guess we'll just go for kills. We get the ulti onto the Vladimir. We're kiting away from him, making sure he doesn't hit us with his spells. And then we're just going to auto attack him down. Rengar picks up the kill onto Vladimir. And here, ping for Baron again. But here I actually think that we might be able to get mid in here. But unfortunately, Teemo just gets one shot by a combo basically. And I decide that, you know, maybe Baron's just a better idea. So here I'm going to go to Baron. Finally, my team is actually doing Baron. And it should be a very free Baron. Only Brand is alive because Teemo actually managed to trade 1-for-1 with the Jhin before he died, which is pretty amazing. And here we're going to just pick up the Baron. So next objective coming up is going to be Elder Dragon. Elder Dragon, of course, is coming in under a minute. We pick up both components of the Maul Reminder. Of course, the Last Whisper especially is really, really important against, you know, champions like the Ornn and the Galio. And we will, of course, also go for Wit's End as our last item if we actually reach there because of how much AP there is on the enemy team. Here we help to leech the buff for Rengar and we take the buff share. Of course, we're going to stay on the Dragon side of the map because Dragon is coming up in like 20 seconds or so. So we don't want to go to the wrong side of the map here. Here I'm trying to get a pick with my arrow. Unfortunately, once again, the arrow just goes in between everyone. This kind of just happens like from time to time, or pretty often actually, because Ashe arrow is pretty hard to aim in my opinion. But anyways, here we're just staying at the back of the fight. You can see we're just hitting whoever we can, just focusing the first target. And we are able to actually take out basically almost the entire enemy team. Only Galio and Jhin are left alive. Honestly, I think that there was an angle that we could have forced an end, but Jin's wave clear is really good, especially when you combine it with a Galio with like Luden's Echo and full AP. So I think that it'll be really hard to end because they do a really good wave clear. So we decided to go for the safer option of going for the Elder Dragon instead. And with the Elder Dragon, we should be able to just finish off another fight and just win. Here I see Rengar ulting, so I'm gonna ult the Lee Sin for the like 2.5 second stun or something like that. Rengar gets the jump onto the Lee Sin and one-shots him, which is basically the entire plan. Basically, if you know who you're playing with, if you know the damage your teammates can do, you can always pull off these kind of ults where you know Rengar can finish the kill, so you can just ult him from like from like 10 screens away, and just let Rengar jump on him and kill him. Here, we basically get triple inhib off of that kill. Galio is just trying to split push again for some reason. But here I'm pinging the Teemo back. Teemo's trying to go in like 1v3 at the enemy base. So here I'm just gonna back. I pick up, of course, my Bowler Minder, and I'm of course going towards the Wit's End now. Here I'm trying to ult the Galio, but Galio manages to ult away. So instead I end up hitting an ult onto the Ornn, which is the least valuable target on the enemy team. Really difficult to kill as well. So nothing really comes of it. But either way, now with the Elder Dragon in hand, we're gonna run straight down mid. Should be able to just finish off the last few kills and end the game. I run straight into an Ornn ulti, but thankfully nothing actually happens here. My team's pushing down multiple lanes. Here I'm just stacking up my stacks for my Q and waiting for an opportunity to fight. Here you can see a fight's coming, breaking out at the upper side of the map. Here I slow people down. Here you just look at the damage here. I'm just running down the Vladimir. Here I'm pretty sure I'm getting almost like a solo kill on someone here if I remember correctly. Let's take a look at what happens here. Here I'm just attacking people basically. Alright, there we go. So here you can see I'm basically just 1v1ing the Jhin, and like we just take the Jhin out before he even gets a shot in on us. But anyway, there you have it. There is the game. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual, and goodbye.